My name is Dr. Suresh Kumar Verma and I am a lecturer in English in Chips Court Inter College, Karbi. Today I am going to teach you a very important chapter of grammar that is known as synthesis. So first of all, I will tell you the meaning of synthesis. What is synthesis? You can understand by it. Synthesis means the Yes. So synthesis means the joining together of parts so as to form a whole. We can say that in synthesis we join many sentences together so that we make one sentence. So in this way, synthesis means joining together of parts so as to form a whole. You will find so many sentences and you will have to join together and you will have to make one sentence. That is called synthesis. So in this way, we can say that the other name of synthesis is combination. Combination is the another name of synthesis. So in this way, it is also called combination. So now we can say that synthesis, if any person asks, you can tell him that synthesis Yes. We can say that synthesis is that process by which we form a long sentence by joining many sentences. So in this way, many sentences are given and they are joined together, and in this way, one sentence is formed. So thus we can say that this is the definition of synthesis. It is that process by which we form a long sentence by joining so many sentences. Now, after that, I am telling you the profits of synthesis, because every chapter has some profits. So in this way, there are so many profits of synthesis also. If any person who has full command over synthesis, he has not to write or speak small sentences. So in this way, this is the first profit of synthesis, that we have not to Yes. We can say that we have not to speak or write small sentences. And second profit of it is that yes. If we want to say something, in such condition, we will have to apply only one sentence and we will be able to say what we want to say. So in this way, this is the second profit, that we will not have to speak so many small sentences in parts. And now third profit of synthesis is that Yes. In this way, we can say that our speaking becomes very effective when we talk to any person by using synthesis. In such way, our speaking becomes very effective. So, in this way, these are the profits of synthesis. So, that is why we must try to hold full command over synthesis. Although some students say that this is the most difficult chapter, but if any person pays attention on it, he can get hold on it. He can get full command over it. So that is why there is no worry about this chapter. So now after that we can say that this synthesis can be done under three headings. Now the study of synthesis, can be done under three headings. So in this way, by synthesis we can make three types of sentences. So in this way, under three headings we can make synthesis. Now the first is combination of simple sentences into one simple sentence. Should say by combining so many simple sentences we can make one simple sentence. And the second is yes. And the second is combination of simple sentences into one complex sentence. In it, so many simple sentences are connected together and they are made complex sentence. And number three. And the third is combination of simple sentences into one compound sentence. So in this way we can say that by synthesis we can make three types of sentences only, and they are simple sentence. Either that sentence will be simple or complex or compound. So in this way only three types of sentences can be made by synthesis. So after that, I will tell you one by one about all these types of sentences. So first of all, I am going to tell you about simple sentence. In this way, first of all, I will teach you about simple sentence. Now, what is simple sentence? In simple sentence, there is only one clause. Always remember that in simple sentence, In simple sentence, there is only one clause. It means that in simple sentence, there should be one clause and there should be principal clause. So we can say in simple sentence, there is only one clause and that is principal clause. And that is principal clause. It means that in simple sentence there should be only one finite verb. There should be one finite verb in simple sentence. So in this way we can say that in simple sentence there is only one clause and that clause will be called principal clause, and as you know in clause there is only one finite verb. So after that there are so many methods of making simple sentences. So I am telling you the methods one by one, and after that I will tell you in detail. So look at the methods by which we make simple sentence. Methods of simple sentences. There are 7 types of methods by which we can make simple sentences. So look at the first method. Yes. Use of participle. This is the first use. When it is used as noun, it will be pronunciated use, and when it is used as verb, it will be pronunciated use. So here use of participle. Now second, second is nominative absolute, and third is use of infinitive, and fourth is noun or phrase in apposition, and fifth is adverb or adverbial phrase. Phrase. And sixth is use of by use of adjective or conjunction, and last is seventh. Preposition before noun or gerund. So in this way, these are 7 methods by which we can make simple sentences. So in this way, first is use of participle, second is use of nominative absolute, third is use of infinitive, fourth is use of noun oblique phrase in apposition, fifth is adverb oblique adverbial phrase, sixth is use of adjective oblique conjunction, and seventh and last use of preposition before noun or gerund. So in this way, after that I will tell you about each and every rule in detail. Although we can say that if we pay attention on the given sentences, because you know that so many sentences will be given, and if anyone pays attention on those sentences, it will come out clearly before him which method he will have to apply in it. So that is why first of all you will have to pay attention on the given sentences, and after that if you understand the sentence fully, automatically you will understand which method you will have to apply. So that is why I will teach you these 7 methods in detail. So first of all, I am going to teach you about the use of participle. Yeah. So yes. Now this is the first method. This is the first method by which we make simple sentences, and that is known as participle. Now, what is participle? For it, we can say that participle yes. Participle is that word which has the force of verb and an adjective. Then we can say that participle is that word which has the force of verb and adjective. Actually, participles are mainly verb, but they functions as an adjective. So, in this way, participles are of 3 types. Types. Participles are 3 types. Number 1, present participle, and number 2, past participle, and number 3, perfect participle. So in this way, present participle, past participle, and perfect participle. As we know that these 3 start from the same letter, and that is P. So in English, they are also called 3P. They are also known as 3P. If any person asks what is 3P in English, we will have to tell that 3P means participles. All the 3 participles. So after that, I will tell you about present participle, after that past participle, and then perfect participle. So present participle. First of all, look at present participle. Present participle is formed by adding ing in the first form of the verb. It is formed ing in the first form of the verb. And Yes. Present participle is formed by adding ing in the first form of the verb and represents an action as going on. It's a, by example, you can understand it easily. Yes. I saw a rolling line. When I saw a line, that time that line was rolling. So in this way, the action was going on. When I saw, the action of line was going on because it was. So in this way, we see that it is the first form of the verb, and that is roll, and ing is added in it. So this functions as an adjective. We see that who was rolling, the answer will be lion. As you know, lion is a noun. So in this way, rolling, lion, rolling functions as an adjective and it is verb. So in this way, it is present participle. In this way, if any student who does not understand the parts of speech, in this way we can say that he does not know half of English. So first of all, the students must know which word from any book relates this part of speech. If he knows this well, he can understand fully. Otherwise, every student will feel a lot of difficulties. So that is why first of all, a student must know which word belongs to which parts of speech. So the knowledge of parts of speech is very compulsory. You have seen that when a child goes to school and after that when he begins to write and speak. So first of all, when he begins to join the letters, after that he is taught parts of speech. So that is why we can say that parts of speech is taught from the very beginning. So that is why it is most important. Although it is not interesting for some students, but it is the most useful for learning English. So that is why knowledge of parts of speech is very compulsory. So I say over in line, so it means that participle is the first form of verb and we add ing, that will be called present participle. Now after that, second is past participle. Past participle. Past participle is the third form of the verb, and it represents yes. Past participle is the third form of the verb and represents a complete action or state. Complete action or state of a thing is spoken of. We can say that in it the work has already completed and after that it is mentioned again. So we can say, for example, I found my lost ring. And here we see that this is the third form of the verb and it tells that the work has already completed and now it is mentioned again. So in this way I found my lost ring was already lost. So the work has already completed but now it is mentioned. In this way, past participle represents a complete action or state of a thing spoken of. Now, third is perfect participle. Perfect participle is formed by having plus third form of verb. When we add third form of the verb and before it we apply having, in this way perfect participle is formed and it represents now and it represents an action completed at some time past. So in this way we can say in it the verb has already completed. We can say that having completed the work, he went home. So in this way, we see the work has already completed. After that, he went home. So in this way, these are three types of participles: present participle, past participle, and perfect participle. Now we come to the main point. In your book, you will find only three types of sentences. Either one sentence will be connected by present participle or past participle or perfect participle. So I am telling you the method in which you can connect the sentences. If you find no gap between two actions given in the sentence, in such condition you will have to apply present participle. And if you find gap between two sentences, between two actions, in such condition you will have to apply perfect participle. For example, we can say seeing a snake, he ran away. Now, two sentences will be given. He saw a snake, he ran away. So, see a snake and run away. There is no gap between these two actions. So, in such condition, present participle is used. And when there is gap, you will have to apply perfect participle. For example, having taken bath, he went to temple. So in this way, we see that there is gap. Take bath and go to temple. There is a gap between two actions. So when you find the gap, you will have to apply perfect.